Hello and welcome back to the Daily Bread Bible Study. We are again looking at the disintegration of hope, which feels awfully connected with the disintegration of the nations of Israel and Judah, and also the disintegration of the worship around God. So we will discuss more of that here for day 113, Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020, focusing on 2 Kings 14 through 16. It all goes back to Jeroboam and the sins, the original and his later namesake, continue through the leaders of Israel. And this will lead the upcoming disintegration of Israel and also influencing a little bit of Judah as well. But here is more to set up these events. Starting in 2 Kings 14:1, in the second year of King Joash, son of Jehoahaz of Israel, King Amaziah, son of Joash of Judah, began to reign. So just a reminder that King Joash of Israel and King Joash of Judah shared a name. And so those kings were very similar and connected. But they're separate for right now, because in 2 Kings 14, we see that King Amaziah reigns 29 years, does quote-unquote what is right in the sight of the Lord. He avenges his father's murder, but spares the children in accordance with the law of Moses, leads victories over the Edomites, but then also picks a fight with the army of Israel, which he loses. 2 Kings 14:13 says, King Jehoash of Israel captured King Amaziah of Judah, son of Jehoash, son of Azahiah, at Beth Shemesh. And he came to Jerusalem and broke down the wall of Jerusalem from the Ephraim gate to the corner gate, a distance of 400 cubits. Thus, Jerusalem suffers its first demolition. In verse 14, it says, he seized all the gold and silver and all the vessels that were found in the house of the Lord and in the treasuries of the king's house, as well as hostages, and returned to Samaria. So it's not looking good. The two nations, once united together under King David and King Solomon, are now fighting with one another as they face major oppression from other nations. Now, this is the second time Judah is plundered in recent history. Last time we saw in 2 Kings 12 that Aram took money from the house of the Lord, and this time it is Israel who gets the wealth that is accumulated by Judah. As we will see, the wealth will not stay with Israel. The end of Amaziah is similar to his father. Unhappy people track him down and murder him, and his son Azariah succeeds him in Judah. For Israel, the king becomes Jeroboam II, who does evil according to the ways of his namesake ancestor, Jeroboam the son of Nebat. This was the original Jeroboam who led the separation away from the monarchy thereafter King Solomon, when his son Rehoboam inherited the throne. Anyways, that ended the time of the united 12 tribes, that united kingdom, and thus the current Jeroboam makes God angry in similar ways to the old Jeroboam. But yet God's commitment to loving Israel keeps Israel around for a little while longer. God is finding it difficult to continue to show love in the form of sovereignty to this rebellious people, and that sovereignty will end next time. But continuing in 2 Kings 15, let's focus back on Judah with King Azariah. He has a long reign, a 52-year reign in Jerusalem, and he does what is right in the eyes of the Lord, which means formally worshiping God instead of Baal or other gods. We will see this is threatened at the end of 16, but for now the high places and false worship persist among the people, and they do become an infection in Judah. And this infection is manifest physically in the king, as Azariah becomes leprous until his death. His son Jotham succeeds him. Now over in Israel, King Zechariah arises, and like his father and grandfather, is murdered. The murderer lasts as king for 1 month and is killed as well. Thus, the throne of Israel is not stable and treachery abounds. God is not happy with this, and the murderer of the murderer is then attacked by an army called Assyria. This is the first time Assyria is mentioned here as an army. This quote-unquote king plunders his own people to pay off Assyria. Thus, Israel is prolonged, and its destruction is averted for a short time. This cycle of doing what is evil in the sight of the Lord and of murder also continues in the line of Israel, and as does the assault of the nation called Assyria. Some towns and people are removed from Israel from these Assyrian attacks. Judah experiences transition to and pressure from Assyria as well in a different way, with a little less murder. King Uzziah comes and goes, and his son Jotham comes and notably builds the upper gate of the house of the Lord, as it says in 2 Kings 15:35. Judah at this point is seeking to build up the Lord, while Israel at this point is tearing down everything God stands for. Yet even this will last for a short time. None of them are really reading the law of Moses, and Judah takes on some practices of other nations after King Jotham's death. This includes practices which are being done in Israel, and the offerings to God under the new king Ahaz of Judah become distorted. 2 Kings 16:3-4. This new king Ahaz, son of Jotham, walked in the ways of the kings of Israel, which means he made his sons pass through the fire, according to the abominable practices of the nations whom the Lord drove out before the people of Israel when they were coming to inherit the promised land. He sacrificed and made offerings on high places, on the hills, and under every green tree. And he had the high place, the temple of God, there with Jerusalem. But it seems like ever since this temple in Jerusalem was built, that people are choosing to worship and offer sacrifices in other places. So, is that temple, is the holy place of God functioning as such? Maybe this is why Aram and Israel joined forces to attack Judah, that they are straying away from God and God's command to worship in the temple. Jerusalem is safe for now, but it mentions that the Judeans are removed from Elath. King Ahaz of Judah does two other distorted things. He plunders the house of the Lord to give as a present to the king of Assyria, and he commands the priest Uriah to replace the bronze altar of the Lord with a replica of one of a temple under Assyrian control there in Damascus. So basically, he tells God to move over and make room. We're going to put the Assyrian gods and the Assyrian altar to be the central thing in the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem. Yeah, take that in. This is not something that is good. This is not something that God wants. This is God's place of worship, the place that is supposed to mediate and be a gateway towards God, is getting moved over for this other God, this other deity. Instead of focusing on the obvious moving away from God, which is not good, and especially within God's own house, right? I want to note that this is the first time that the word Judean is used. Now, the Bible mentions people from the tribe of Judah, But this specific usage of Judean in 2 Kings 16:6, it's the first. It's interesting. We have the appearance of Judean. It feels awfully close to the rise of another word called Assyrian. It also feels awfully close to the stoppage of use of the word of Israel, referring to the nation of Israel, because in 2 Kings 17, next time, we will see that Israel is no longer there. They will get sacked by Assyria, and they will no longer be a nation. So maybe the rise of the term Judean is with the destruction of Israel. Who knows? But if you have any thoughts on the matter or comments for me, please message me. I'd love to talk and communicate more about what you think's going on here and what's happening with all of these, this rise of the Assyrian government, the Assyrian army taking over places that had belonged there, and where God is involved in all of this. So thanks for your time and energy. I will see you next time.